Hello my friends! If you're new here, my name is Rachel and welcome to the channel, and if you are returning, hi, welcome back. It's so nice to see you again. It is dark and gloomy and cold today. I am currently curled up in a blanket trying to stay warm, and we are on 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎, officially diving into our first speed build on the island. If you're new to the channel, we are starting a new island for the winter season, and today we are building the entrance to our dark Dickensian melancholic island. Think Tchaikovsky, think Victorian winter, desolate countrysides. You know, the vibes are just really dark and moody, and I am so excited. There have been a few hiccups along the way that have kept me from working on this, and I really want to try and take my time with this island, so just know that I am very ready to start on this entrance, and I cannot wait to bring 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 to life with you. Before we get into the speed build, do be sure to subscribe to the channel, as I would love to have you join our cozy community, and without further ado, let's go take a look at our entrance. Alright besties, so here we are at the entrance to �𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓎. I want to take you through really quickly and just kind of show you what we have going on. Take a look at the map and some of the villagers that we have on the island currently. I also want to show you some stuff that I've done behind the scenes a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but I just want to walk you through the area that we're going to be working with. So we have this nice big flat land right here, and this is going to be the majority of our entrance area. I want to take the entrance and I want to bring it all the way off to the side here, where we have this little like river mouth going on. As you can see, I have some items already placed, and that's because I did go ahead and decorate this little side beach that we have going on here, just to help me get an idea for like what we have going on this island. Originally I told myself that I wanted the beaches to be a majority of wheat fields, and then I don't know, I just got the feeling to make like a little beachside like farmhouse shack thing. I don't know, like this right here is the exact vibe that I'm going to try and put across the entire island. We're gonna have a mixture of like, you know, some dark academia with some city core, with the majority of it being very rustic and forested, but we have this entire front area that we're going to be working with here. I'm going to bring it all the way off to the side here as well, possibly across this entire beach. I haven't really decided how far I'm going to bring it on the right side. I just know the left side I'm going to bring it up to that river mouth. Let's just go ahead and take a little look at our map. So this is the layout for �𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓎 that I decided to go with. I'm pretty happy with this island. I knew that I wanted to have two south river mouths, and I wasn't really, you know, feeling anything too much on the beaches or the peninsula. I just knew that I wanted two south river mouths, I wanted a blue airport, and I wanted resident services to be close to the airport, but not so close that I couldn't build an expanded like entrance area. And yeah, I obviously haven't flattened the island yet. We will get to that eventually, but this is what we are working with. Now, on terms of the actual villagers that we have on the island, some changes have been made. As you can see, we both have Lyman and Bengal hanging out on �𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓏, which, you know, love them, think that they're so cute, but they definitely do not belong on a dark and gloomy winter themed island, so they will be going. I also have Eric down below. As you can see, he was my autofill lazy villager, which felt like I hit the jackpot, honestly, so I'm going to be keeping him instead of having Anchovy on the island, which, I don't know, I'm still kind of like tossing around the idea of kind of rearranging my villagers, because as you can see here, I also have Chops. Now, a little backstory on this. So Chops was one of the villagers that appeared in our planning video, and I did X him out because I didn't feel like he fit the color scheme very well, but not only was he my smug autofill on this like iteration of �𝓃𝓃𝓃𝓏, but my previous iteration that I ended up resetting, he was also my smug autofill. So it almost felt like the universe was telling me like Chops belonged on this island, and I think I'm gonna keep him and replace Lionel with Chops because I think Chops is so cute. He almost gives me like Nutcracker vibes. I think that he should run like a little post office. I think it would be really cute. So I will be keeping Chops, but that is kind of it for now. Obviously, I don't have all of my villagers quite yet, but that is kind of everything that I wanted to show you guys, give you a little idea of what we have going on, and just know that this whole area up here is going to be some stuff that we are going to work on today. So I am starting off today's speed build the way that I do with all of my beginning entrance builds, and that is just trying to figure out the way that I want the pathing in this area to go. Trying to figure out the direction that you want people to initially walk through the entrance to your island is super important, so I knew that I wanted to have this like winding dirt path leading you toward an incline. So I'm starting by focusing on, how much space is this pathing actually going to take up. When I started working on this speed build, I had no clue what I was doing. I had nothing really planned out. I had some vague ideas in my mind. Like, I knew I wanted to keep this a bit smaller. I wanted it to be secluded and very forested, but overall I had no idea what the main basis of this entrance was going to be. I found some inspiration from some various builders in the community over on Pinterest, but I would say the biggest inspiration that I pulled from was this beautiful autumn forest entrance by Horrible Gaming. I've seen so many entrances and builds done in autumn or spring or summer, just like basically nothing in winter time, and so it was really important for me to try and find something that I could try and recreate in more of a winter style to show you guys that even if something is set in a different season, you can do it in whatever season you're working in and it'll still look just as beautiful. Now, I would say that my biggest goal with this island is to just try and bring you guys as much wintry inspiration as I can. When I was putting together a mood board on Pinterest of different build ideas, I could not, for the life of me, find anything set in the winter that even vaguely fit the theme that I was trying to do. Literally all of my build inspiration pictures on Pinterest are these bright, vibrant, like summer and spring islands, or these really cozy, like autumn islands. So I feel like there's definitely just like such a gap in the market for winter islands, and I want to try and get more people excited about working with the snow in game and just help overall with some winter inspiration. This also leads me into something else that I want to help with. I've kind of been playing around with the idea of doing some how-to videos, some tips and tricks, or even just like tutorial videos in general. So if that's something that could be helpful for you or something that you would be interested in watching, do let me know in the comments down below, or even just letting me know like what types of things you guys struggle with in Animal Crossing, so I can try and like put something together so I can make a little series or something like that. I think that would be really fun. But back to the build. Now, this build is heavily inspired by Narnia, which is not intentional whatsoever. For some reason, I just immediately got reminded of the opening scene when the kids arrive into Narnia and are greeted with the single lamppost in a snowy, like evergreen forest. And when I saw this like street lamp, I just immediately thought of the movie. So I thought that I could kind of like use that as a bit of a direction to go with how to decorate this entrance. Sometimes inspiration for me can come in the most unexpected places, and I literally haven't seen the movie Narnia in so long, but I found myself finding a lot of inspiration in movies and TV shows and books lately. Obviously, of course, we had Pottsfield, which was based off of Over the Garden Wall, and I also took some inspiration from the Night Circus, and now I'm over here taking inspiration from Narnia. But I knew that I definitely wanted to go with something a bit more rustic, and I've been playing with the idea of 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 mainly taking place on the second tier in-game, which would definitely give me an opportunity to do more sunken builds, like obviously this sunken entrance, maybe doing a sunken resident services, or things like, really cool waterfalls and lakes and stuff like that. I also knew that I wanted this entrance to be somewhat on the smaller side, and this is definitely a design that you can take and make even smaller if you have a smaller entrance than I do on your island. This kind of leads me into the hiccups that I had when starting 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎. Let me just preface by saying that I swear I am cursed when it comes to starting new Animal Crossing islands. I have the worst luck ever, and I never really talked about it when we were working on Pottsfield, but Pottsfield took me 5 real life days, like 5 days of my actual human life that I spent trying to find the right island layout. I think I lost count at my 400th reroll. I was trying to keep count, but when I hit the 400 mark, stuff starts to get a little murky, and I still didn't exactly end up with the island layout that I wanted to. I am very picky when it comes to the islands that I do in game. I want some very specific things going into them because, of course, when it comes to picking an island, you have, of course, your airport color. You also have the river mouths and where they're facing, the placement of resident services, the types of stuff that you really can't change, which I wish we could. What I wouldn't give, I would pay Nintendo literally hundreds of dollars to give me the opportunity to just change things. I don't know if you guys ever played New Leaf before, but in New Leaf, a game that is significantly older than New Horizons, you had the opportunity to actually change what resident services looked like. You had the opportunity to change what the train station looked like, which was like the equivalent of the airport that we have in New Horizons. And yeah, you could go through and set up a public works project where you could have like a modern resident services services or like a princess palace, and it was so cool. And I am so surprised that they didn't include something like that with Happy Home Paradise. I feel like it would make a lot of sense to include it with that, but we aren't going to get into any Animal Crossing drama. That is not what this is about. It's about how I struggled so hard to try and get a layout for Pottsfield that worked for me. But this time around, when I tried to go through and find an island for 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎, I was really strapped for time because I was trying to get my Pottsfield tour recorded after resetting, and I was also trying to get my build done for the recent 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎 12 Days of Crossings collab that I did, and I was running out of time for literally like everything. I was so stressed out, so I kind of just ended up picking the first island that I found that even like vaguely gave me what I wanted. But once the Pottsfield tour was done and once my collab build was finished, I tried to actually start working on the entrance, and I found out that it was not going to work at all for what I wanted to do. So of course, like I said, I didn't really know what I wanted to build in my entrance. I just knew that I wanted to do this kind of like winding dirt path. I really wanted to play with the idea of doing a mini river island with these like two-tiered waterfall cliffs above, and I just did not have enough space to do that because resident services was so close to my entrance. So I just kind of said, you know, frick it, and I restarted my island, and it definitely put a bit of a spanner in the works because I definitely was like running short on time for getting the speed build taken care of. So it was a whole thing. But I would say that no matter what, everything ended up working out for the better in the end anyway, because I am really happy with this layout. It's really hard to feel 100% confident in a layout that you choose because you don't really get to choose everything how you want it to be, which can be very difficult for someone like me who has control issues. But on top of that, it's just really hard to visualize exactly where everything is going to go. I have a really hard time with kind of like over promising on an island, in the sense where like I think that I can include so much more, but then I run out of space very quickly because I get really carried away and I love adding a lot of stuff. So, you know, it's kind of just up in the air with what we'll actually be able to pull off, and I am trying to just take my time with this island and have some fun with it. Now, I have no clue what I'm going to do with resident services. You could kind of see it like peeking up in that corner over there, so you do see how close it is to the entrance, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with that. So it'll be really fun because I am just as much in the dark as you guys are with my plan for this island. This is the only thing that I have planned out except for a little list of builds. So of course I did talk through a majority of the speed build, so as we come up on these final areas, I want to focus on what I have done. I filled in this back area with layered trees as well as some wheat fields to give the illusion of a deeper overgrown forest. I also separated the space with this stone fence, and I just love how filling this whole area in makes it feel colder somehow. Like without this path and this lamppost you could so easily get lost. But I also went off screen and built out some more cliffs because, as I mentioned, a majority of this island I believe will take place on the second tier, so a lot of the cliff building I'm just going to be doing the monotonous like work of filling in the cliffs, so I will probably cut that type of stuff out. But here I am working on the right side of the entrance and creating a bit more of a forested area to mirror the left side that we just did and kind of just close in the entrance a bit more. I really like this heavy forested look that almost makes the entrance feel difficult to walk through while still making sure that the front side has enough sightlines that you can see the decorative effort that we put into this build. Something about this area almost feels like a liminal space to me. I feel like the term liminal space gets thrown around quite a bit nowadays, especially with things like the back rooms being as popular as they are, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like a liminal space for me isn't necessarily somewhere abandoned, but just something that kind of sparks this instinctual fear inside of you. And there's something about a dark winter forest that I feel like just kind of plays into this instinctual human fear that we have of spaces that are deadly. You know, there's nothing that is inherently deadly about a forest, but wrong place and wrong time, and it can be a very dark place to be in. And I really like the idea of trying to play into that with 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎. I didn't want to go too heavy with the idea of, you know, some spooky builds, but more so just like give the illusion of something being kind of unsettling. I feel like that's really fun to work with for a winter island because it's not something that you see very often, But that is pretty much it for this front area. I'm just going to go through and add in a few more pieces of foliage to really fill out the space. But now we're going to head to this front beach. So in the opening sequence for the video, of course, I walked you through this part of the island, and you did see that I had it built out. That was actually the first area that I built on the island, just to get an idea of how I wanted to build things out on the island. And I decided to kind of tear it down and rebuild it so that way you guys could see the exact items that I used and how I placed them. So I'm just going through and replacing everything. There's a lot of wheat fields because, like I said, I think the majority of beaches on this island are just going to be filled with wheat fields. So I went through and tried to figure out how I could, like, you know, turn it into more of a decorative space with the majority of it being wheat fields. So I did cut out quite a bit of me placing those items because there's like 50 something wheat fields in this area. But I really hope that you guys like how this build turned out, and I can't wait to go and take a look at the beauty shots. So without further ado, let's go and take a look. Alrighty, my friends, that is everything for the speed build and the beauty shots. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this entrance speed build. I know that it's a little different from what we usually have going on, but I'm seriously so excited to be working on a snowy, wintry island, so I hope that you guys are too. I cannot wait to start working on the upper tier of the entrance in our next speed build video to help finish out this first little area on 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎, so do stick around to see how we finish everything out. I hope to take on some bigger and more involved builds over the next couple of weeks, but of course the holidays are coming up, so we'll see what we're able to get done during this busy time. I would love to do something special for the holidays on Christmas Eve or possibly even on New Year's, so if you have any ideas, like maybe a Q&A or a special theme to build in Happy Home Paradise or something, do let me know down in the comments below. If we get together enough ideas, maybe I can turn it into a poll over on the community tab for everyone to vote on or something like that. But I also just want to take a moment to make a quick announcement that I can talk more about in a little bit. I've mentioned a few times in previous videos that I have some celebrations in mind for hitting both my 1,000 sub milestone as well as my 1.5k milestone, which is so crazy, and at the time of recording this we're only like 200 subscribers away from reaching 2,000, which is seriously so mind-blowing, and I appreciate every single one of you so much. But I want to finally talk about some of the things that I have had in mind for the channel. I've been secretly hard at work trying to create a Discord server to host our amazing community and to give us a place to get to know each other better and just hang out together, as well as working with YouTube on creating some channel memberships as a way to bring you some extra goodies on the channel while also helping to support me and my work. I want to make it all worthwhile, of course, and as accessible as possible, so definitely stay tuned to hear more about what I hope to bring to the channel very soon. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, consider leaving a like as well as a comment letting me know all of your thoughts on 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓄's first build, and be sure to subscribe to the channel because I absolutely love having you around. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.